Good afternoon, all. CamelbackTrading.org coming to you this Monday afternoon, February 22nd. We are looking at the SPY ETF's market profile here on Window Trader. And I'm pretty exhausted. I'm thrilled. I lost a little over $400 today, and I'm thrilled because I think I called the market well. I called a little early on some things. We'll go over everything in a minute. And if I did get back in to try to get more back. And then I had a problem with my machine late in the day. If I didn't have that problem, I actually probably would have been green. I was out between $10,000 and $12,000 twice today, so I lose only $400 on the day. I'm happy with it, although I wanted to get a green and tried to. Let's start real quick with some of the others. Russell never gapped lower, but what the Russell failed to do is after taking out Friday's high, they got nowhere and almost reversed to take out the bottom of Friday's low. I think the bell saved them on that one. They're only 7 wide. They have no afternoon rally high, no afternoon pullback, so all they have to lean on is the high and the low from today. And again, they're basically now in a 4-day balance where they stretched the top of it and came back in. So not a great finish for the Russell. By the way, the Dow and the transports hit all-time highs today. A lot of rotation. They flushed out of the tech stocks. We were talking about a bunch of them. I think a very key level in Tesla's 717. It looks like we closed below there. But again, one day doesn't make a market. But if you start getting acceptance below 3.7... did I say 317? 717 in Tesla. If you start getting acceptance below that, I do think we'll see 600, between 600 and 655. That'd be your next stop around 655 and then the 600 level. A lot of things in NASDAQ that you have to be worried as a bull. Gap held today. We gapped lower, didn't fill it. We had a beautiful textbook afternoon rally high. We go out with a trend day that holds with single prints in L and a price probe from L's low. So out of the last, I think 5 days, 1, 2, 3, 4, yep, out of the last 5 trading days since our all-time high, we have 2 gaps that haven't filled to the upside and 3 days that had single prints and double distribution days. And that's a little worrisome. Definitely a little worrisome as far as a bull in the NQ and the Qs. For us, we gap lower, we filled the gap, but I'll tell you what, a huge nuance that held. We didn't get this. The price probe was very small from Friday. We didn't get it, missed it by 4 cents. Now, I took a size play. I'll go over all my trades. What I didn't take one long today. I actually had a good trade in the first couple of time frames where I was up money. In A period, I took a short below the opening. It went against me initially, came up, I added to it, came back to around that worked out. It was the 389 puts. I traded today's expiration for most of my trades except in M period. B period, we got up. I'm like, I don't expect single prints. So I was comfortable taking a short. Again, and it came back in. So I made decent, not great, but I had good trades in A and B. Now here's where the issue started. D period. I said if D takes out C's low, I think we should at least test the opening. Not the opening, I keep saying that. Test the day's low and see what we get out of it. Okay? Well, lo and behold, we took out C's low and I took a short. I forgot exactly. It's been such a long day. My mind is fried. I'm not sure if it was 30 or whatever it was. But then D went up. Started going up, went against me. Now, I should have been out of that trade above the opening. I thought, well, maybe we're just going to go up. We're now one time framing down, right? B one time framed up. C stopped the one time framing up. D started one time framing down, 2 time frames in a row. I'm like, well, maybe we'll get back up. And I forgot what I added. I'll be honest with you, I don't even remember at this point. But I added, started going against me good. And again, I added pretty big. I was like, well, if we start getting above the day's high, I'm really in trouble. I was out on that trade, almost 10,000 at that point. It came back in. I took them off, and I ended up being out just under $2,000 on that trade. Not saying it's the right trade, but I did it because we had lower value and the gap still. So after that trade, I decided to put myself in trouble again. G period. G period takes out the high. We're already 7 for 7 wide. I'm like, okay, maybe we don't fill the gap again. We come back in and get 9 wide. Well, we did get 9 wide, but not the way I thought we were going to. That's for sure. So I started a short position. Now this short position lasted from G through J. Started in G, added, I'm not sure where I added, if it was G or H. I was getting hurt again pretty good. I was long 150 puts at the time. I said, I'm going to be patient. The fact that we got this high, I said, they're going to close the gap. So now I want to see what happens at the gap fill. A lot of times you get that responsive sell-off initially. So when we filled the gap, I bought 200. Here's the problem. I was in 2 different ones. I was long 150 of the 390 puts. I bought 250 of the 391 puts. So now I'm managing 2 trades of size. I'm long 400 puts, and it starts coming in. And it came in pretty good where, now remember, all Jay did was stop the one-time framing up, and we had 2 sets of singles. So I took this trade not because I thought the day was going to collapse like it did, but because I thought we had a chance to come off when we filled the gap and come back in and maybe fill 1 set of singles. So when Jay did what it did, I took everything off, and I went from about a $12,000 loss to what I think it was like $1,400 or $1,700. I was like, okay, fine. Now, I told the room, if we take out, I said, this is where change took place, B. So now, are we going to hold the singles in H? Are we going to hold the singles in G? If we do, then that's a good out on my part, and we see if now they want to go back up and get the price probe and see if we go even higher. I said, however, buyers aren't too worried yet. I said, but if we get acceptance below B's high and H's low, all these longs are going to really panic. Because that's where change took place. Right? Look at Friday. Change took place here. We tried to get up, couldn't, and look what M did. Right back down. So what happened? K fills, H is singles, L starts, goes back up, comes down, fills the singles. Now, my mental reserve was, the tank was barely there. I was running on fumes. Should I have taken that short now? Of course I should have. Absolutely, I should have taken that short now once we got acceptance below B's high and H's high. Because everybody who's long here is going to panic and shorts are going to pile on. And we got to 8 wide in L. I'm saying, well, there's no doubt we're going to 9 wide. I'm like, I hope we push lower first. Then I would look for maybe a long to get back to 9 wide. But lo and behold, M opened up, got 9 wide, but wasn't getting any traction. So I started shorting again. I shorted it twice, a couple of times, got my loss down again. And then I wanted to take a 50 lot right before the 350 algorithm, or the 355, I forget which, when we were down here. My machine was screwed up. I didn't do it. If I had taken that 50 lot put play, I would have gotten back everything and more and would have probably made between 500 and 1,000 on the day. Regardless, I'm still happy what I lost because of everything. I think I called the day well, but I called it early. And you have to respect what these short-term algos can do on the long side, what they did, and on the short side. Okay. Destinations for tomorrow. Upside. 388.08, 9 wide. M's high. 389.62, today's high. 389.66, the price probe from Friday. Then we have 391.05, afternoon rally high from the 19th, and 392.38 daily low. For the downside, excuse me, we have, trying to get my numbers all set here. For the downside, we have today's low of 386.74. Then we have 386.49 daily low, and filling the gap at 386.24, 25-point gap from the 25th. Then we have 385.46 price probe from the February 4th, 384.97 afternoon pullback low from the 4th, 382.78 daily low, 380.48 daily low. Let's go to the charts. Just going to show you SPYs. So again, here's the weekly. The monthly is still fine. Let's look real quick. Last month's high, did we get back into it? No. So last month's high is 385.85. We closed at 387.03. It's fine. Now the weekly is where it's important. We're below. We closed below these two weekly lows. It's in balance. But again, one day doesn't make a market. Okay? If we can't get back into these two weekly lows, well then for sure we're going to start getting acceptance into the week of February 1st. And if we get that, well then the target is going to be the bottom of that week, and then eventually possibly the bottom of this balance, which could put us somewhere into the mid 360s. So the bulls did a good job of filling the gap, but that's all they did today. We better get back into those two weekly lows. And then on the daily, I called it balanced, but I kind of said I was going to use balance before we really sold off. I'm going to give the buyers credit for coming back in. I'm still going to call it balance. But for sure, if we take out today's low, the daily will be down to me. And then we have to see what kind of damage starts getting done. Not a very pleasant finish for the bulls at all. Okay, they did a good job all day, but they gave it all up at the end of the day. I hope you had a good day trading. Have a great night, and we'll speak prior to the opening tomorrow.